In July 2019, the world watched as one of the most controversial and mysterious figures of the 21st century was arrested at a private airport in New Jersey. His name was Jeffrey Epstein, a wealthy financier with powerful friends, private jets, luxury mansions, and a dark secret that would shock the world. But who was Jeffrey Epstein before the headlines? How did a man born into a modest family in Brooklyn rise to the highest circles of global power, and how did he fall so dramatically? This is the story of ambition, influence, manipulation, crime, and unanswered questions. Chapter 1: Humble Beginnings. Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born on January 20, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York. He grew up in a working-class neighborhood called Coney Island. His father worked for the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation, and his mother was a school aide. There was nothing extraordinary about his childhood on the surface. He attended Lafayette High School and was considered intelligent, especially in mathematics. Teachers described him as confident and focused. After high school, he attended Cooper Union and later New York University, studying math and physics. However, he never completed a degree. And yet, despite not finishing college, Epstein would soon find himself teaching at one of the most prestigious private schools in Manhattan. Chapter 2: The First Break. In the mid-1970s, Epstein landed a job teaching math and physics at the Dalton School, an elite private school in New York. He had no formal teaching credentials. So how did he get the job? It remains unclear. Some believe he impressed administrators with his intelligence and confidence. Others believe connections played a role. After leaving Dalton, he entered the world of finance. He joined the investment bank Bear Stearns, where he quickly rose through the ranks. Colleagues described him as aggressive, ambitious, and unusually persuasive. But in 1981, he left the firm under unclear circumstances. Soon after, Epstein launched his own financial consulting business, claiming he specialized in managing the assets of billionaires. Chapter 3: Building Power. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Epstein cultivated relationships with powerful individuals across politics, academia, and business. He owned multiple properties. A Manhattan townhouse, one of the largest private homes in New York. A private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. A mansion in Palm Beach, Florida. A ranch in New Mexico. An apartment in Paris. He traveled on private jets. He hosted influential guests. And he presented himself as a man connected to the world's elite. But questions lingered. Where did his wealth truly come from? Unlike other financiers, Epstein had no clear public record of major deals. No well-known hedge fund. No public portfolio. Yet he lived like a billionaire. Chapter 4: The Dark Side Emerges. In the early 2000s, disturbing allegations began to surface. In Palm Beach, Florida, young girls reported being recruited to give Epstein massages at his mansion. These were not normal massages. According to court documents, many of the girls were underage. Some were as young as 14. The pattern was chilling. A young girl would be approached, often by another teenage girl, and told she could earn money giving a massage to a wealthy man. Once inside the mansion, the situation would escalate. Over time, investigators alleged that Epstein created a system, a network, designed to recruit and exploit vulnerable minors. Chapter 5: The 2008 Plea Deal. By 2005, police in Palm Beach had begun investigating. Detectives gathered testimony from multiple victims. The case appeared strong. But in 2008, Epstein reached a controversial plea deal with federal prosecutors. He pleaded guilty to state charges of soliciting prostitution from a minor. The sentence? 18 months in jail, but he was allowed to leave 6 days a week for work release. Many were outraged. Victims said justice had not been served. The deal also granted immunity to co-conspirators, a detail that would later draw intense scrutiny. The U.S. attorney who approved the deal was Alexander Acosta. Years later, Acosta would resign from his position as U.S. Labor Secretary after public backlash over the plea agreement. Chapter 6, Return to High Society. After serving his sentence, Epstein returned to elite social circles. He was seen with politicians, business leaders, and academics. One of the most talked about names connected to him was Bill Clinton, who had flown on Epstein's private jet multiple times. Clinton later stated he was unaware of Epstein's crimes. Another high-profile associate was Prince Andrew, a member of the British royal family. Photographs surfaced of Prince Andrew with one of Epstein's accusers. The controversy led to Prince Andrew stepping back from royal duties. Epstein also had interactions with figures in science and technology, including Bill Gates, though Gates later described their meetings as a mistake. Despite his conviction, Epstein continued to move in powerful circles. Chapter 7, 2019 Arrest. In July 2019, federal prosecutors in New York charged Epstein with sex trafficking of minors. He was arrested at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. Authorities searched his Manhattan townhouse and reportedly found large amounts of cash, hundreds of photographs, evidence suggesting a larger operation. This time, the charges were far more serious. Epstein pleaded not guilty. The world waited for a trial that many believed would expose powerful secrets. Chapter 8, The Death in Custody. On August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York. His death was ruled a suicide by hanging. But immediately, questions arose. Why were the security cameras malfunctioning? Why were the guards asleep? Why had he previously been removed from suicide watch? The circumstances fueled widespread speculation and conspiracy theories. Some believed he was silenced to protect powerful individuals. Others accepted the official ruling. To this day, debates continue. Chapter 9, Ghislaine Maxwell. Epstein did not operate alone. In 2020, British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested. Prosecutors alleged she played a central role in recruiting and grooming underage girls for Epstein. In 2021, Maxwell was convicted on multiple charges related to sex trafficking. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Her conviction confirmed what many had suspected, that Epstein's operation involved assistance. Chapter 10, The Island. Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands became one of the most infamous properties in the world. Often referred to in media as Little St. James, it became the subject of intense scrutiny. Victims' alleged abuse took place there. The island symbolized wealth, isolation, and secrecy. It also became central to public imagination about hidden networks of power. Chapter 11, Money and Mystery. One of the biggest unanswered questions remains. How did Jeffrey Epstein truly make his money? He claimed to manage funds for billionaires. Some reports linked him to managing the fortune of retail magnate Leslie Wexner. But many financial details remain unclear. Even after his death, investigations into his finances continued. Chapter 12, The Impact. Epstein's case had global consequences. It led to renewed scrutiny of how powerful individuals avoid accountability, public outrage over plea deals for wealthy offenders, increased awareness of sex trafficking networks, investigations into institutional failures. It also forced conversations about privilege, influence, and justice.